everybody out there. This is Travis from the Broken Battery Pop Culture Podcast, welcoming you again to another edition of the Broken Battery Entertainment Pop Culture Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We are actually on location on the side of the road today, folks. If you can't hear all the crickets and the cars going by, we've been displaced by Bunko.
Yeah, that's right.
You might ask what Bunko is. I'm not even fucking sure what Bunko is.
I have no idea. I just know that one Wednesday every year, I can't do what I want.
It's like the bastard offspring of Yahtzee. It's like Yahtzee and Canasta had a kid and nobody wanted it.
I don't even know what it is, man.
It's I know I used to play it on when I was a little kid on New Year's and shit at my uncle's house. I remember you got to match up numbers, but I haven't played it in forever.
Yeah, there's 12 women in there playing this game.
Yes, I can hear by all the cackling.
Yes.
But we are poolside, just joking. We're not on the side of the road because we got kicked off the side of the road because we were distracting drivers. We're too awesome. Anyway.
Quite a sight to see.
I am here along with my most gracious host and co-host, the one, the only, Joseph.
Hey, everybody.
Yes, we are actually outside. I've never podcasted outside before. This is actually a nice little change of pace. Except for you might hear the occasional hobo wandering down the side of the road, whispering, to himself or whistling the Jiminy Cricket song from Pinocchio.
And we actually have so many citronella candles out here right now that it looks like we're about to fucking, worship Satan.
Yeah, it does look like an occult ritual. I mean, if by some means you hear some kind of weird static and shit, don't listen to the podcast again. We don't want you getting dragged to hell as well.
There you go.
Anyway.
What's this box do?
Just don't say anything backwards, Joe, okay? So we are going to continue with Shared Universe Month, all right? We are going to just look at as many shared universes as we think we deem fit because it seems to be all the rage all of a sudden. I mean, at least in the last 5-6 years. So anyway, I am excited about this one as I am excited with all of the topics we do because I am a huge kaiju fan. I am an enormous giant monster movie fan. I'm always excited when one comes out, except for the last Pacific Rim movie. I couldn't get behind that.
I watched it.
Yeah, but the problem with Pacific Rim is you watched the first one, right?
Yeah.
And the first one they're fighting those three monsters in was it Hong Kong? It's always Hong Kong.
It always has to be.
It always has to be Hong Kong. He's fighting the three monsters in Hong Kong, and at the end of the fight, he does what I call the Voltron move.
Yeah.
He pulls the sword out. Now, he kills the one monster right away with the sword. And I'm like, well, why didn't you lead with the fucking sword?
Well, that's what I always said about Voltron, too.
Yeah.
It was always just like you had to get your ass kicked and then pull out the blazing sword.
And it's like you didn't earn it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, yeah, we're going to actually talk. We're not talking about Voltron. We're not talking about Pacific Rim. We're going to talk about Legendary's Monsterverse, which came about in, I think, 2012.
2014.
Oh, was it 2014?
Yep.
Yes, with the release of Godzilla, which I really liked that movie.
I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, it was awesome. But then again, I'm kind of partial to Godzilla. I grew up watching all the really old stuff, before my time. They just bought it because my mom's like, this kid ain't watching fucking Barney.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to watch Godzilla.
A real looking dinosaur like Godzilla.
Because they never said he was a real dinosaur. They said he was a dinosaur mutated by radiation.
Yeah, right.
So this mutant dinosaur shaped my childhood.
Yeah, well.
And now here I am sitting in a backyard getting bitten by mosquitoes doing a podcast.
You're getting bit?
A little bit. One of the citronella candles, the barrier broke down over here. So the invading army infiltrated the circle.
Yeah.
But that's okay. The viewers out there, the battery pack's worth it. But we're going to be going through the Monsterverse. Now, the Monsterverse isn't as expansive as, say, the MCU or the DCEU. But it's had a decent amount of movies that have all been interconnected, and they've all been choice. I cannot name a single movie that came out for the Legendary's Monsterverse that has not been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kong Skull Island, really dug it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
King of Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong.
And I mean, that's about it.
They're pretty solid.
Oh, they're all solid.
I got a couple gripes about the Godzilla versus Kong. But
oh yeah, we'll cover that because that was the finale so far. But they are coming out with more movies. I know that much. They actually they've acknowledged that there's going to continue with the MonsterVerse.
yeah.
But I'm going to do a spotlight real fast.
All right, do it up.
Okay, so if you have Netflix,
Or Bunko.
you're not spotlighting Bunko.
Oh, you're not going to spotlight Bunko?
No, Bunko deposed us.
Okay.
Anyway, we are going to spotlight. If you haven't been watching the Netflix Transformers series, you need to because they're on the third part of the series called Kingdom. If you are a Transformers fan, watch War for Cybertron. It is such a good, like, they built it into the mythos. It's 10 times better than the Michael Bay movies.
Oh. I mean,
be careful.
I mean, you have to, if you're going to claim that, and you can't be. As we're speaking, there is a transformer flying over.
This is true.
Overhead.
I think we're getting zeroed in by Skywarp right now.
There you go. But no, I mean, I did find that it didn't have as many explosions as I'm used to.
No, it didn't.
And Optimus Prime didn't say that he was Optimus Prime
5 times.
It was more than that.
I know. I was just trying to err on the side of caution on that one.
I think it had
Joe.
to be about 11.
We're taking it to an 11.
It's an inner monologue. I am Optimus Prime.
Now, are you narrating? No, I am not.
No. I'm telepathically speaking to you.
Because robots do that.
That's right.
Anywho, check it out if you haven't seen it. If you're a Transformers fan, well worth your time.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the Monsterverse. The godfather of the Monsterverse is, of course, Godzilla. And if anybody thinks of giant movie monsters, they think of Godzilla. As much as us Americans would love it, people think, hey, King Kong. No, it's Godzilla. Good one for the Japanese. They came up with a superior product when it came to giant monsters. So Godzilla came out in 2014, as you said, starring Bryan Cranston and
Elizabeth Olsen,
who I seem to believe that your sister-in-law is her stand-in in a lot of things.
in a couple movies.
Just a little production called WandaVision.
That's right.
No big deal. She also did a calendar on a lawnmower calendar.
Oh yeah. She's the Kubota lawn lady.
Hey, that's great.
Hey, you know what? She always shows up on the lawn Weingart's flyer every year at the house. So
nice. And we want to thank you. We know it's Tammy H, but I just like to call you Tammy O. It just sounds cooler. Anyway,
maybe someday she'll listen.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who's hoping? Well, we keep sending her compressed packets with the show on it, and we don't know if she opens it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll keep on saying,
we have
hey,
to send read receipts.
Yeah. we'll just keep on saying, hey, we know her. But anyway, so Godzilla came out, and needless to say, it swerved you. I think it swerved me because it's obviously set in Japan, and they used the Fukushima power plant disaster as a backdrop for the movie, which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah, I think it worked out pretty well.
It worked very well, and they introduced the common thread throughout all the movies, the organization called Monarch. Now, when you say Monarch, I immediately think Venture Brothers, and I think of the bad guy from the Venture Brothers.
For sure.
But hey, whatever. I'll give a little shout out to the Venture Brothers. That show did not get enough love when it was on.
Godzilla.
I know. We got the sound effects. We got him growling in the background, thanking us for doing such a good job. About him.
When we say that, there was Bryan Cranston, and then we had Elizabeth Olsen in it. Now, I want to say so. Elizabeth Olsen's like love interest, husband.
Ford.
Ford. I'd have to say, he's a very forgettable. Forgettable guy. I was like, I have no idea what this guy's ever been in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, he kind of looks like Donnie Darko, military Donnie Darko, but I don't know anything else he's in.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess I could Google something, but
you could, but yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's a lot of moisture out here. My mouse isn't working as good as it should.
Well, that and you're really far away from your wireless router.
No, I got full bars, bro.
Well, I'm just joking.
Yeah, we got Wi-Fi here at poolside.
Oh yeah. Who's to say? I'm not trying to give away too much of the Coogan compound, but he has quite the impressive backyard. So Godzilla they put him in a role as good guy, which was really funny because the first movie ever with Godzilla in it was back in the 50s, and he was a antagonist towards humanity. He wrecked Tokyo. I mean, but we're not really going to talk about the old Godzilla movies because we're talking about the Monsterverse.
Yeah, but you know, at some point in those old Japanese ones, he kind of was like the savior.
Yeah, he became a good guy.
Yeah. I mean, they had to. I mean,
yeah, and
he was just he was destroying the city in response, you know, to saving it.
Right.
You know?
And I had to destroy it to save it.
Right.
But no, and see, in the Monsterverse, they just started off with him being the good guy because everybody thought, watching it, I'm pretty sure, I can't read other people's minds, but in this, they all thought that inside that cocoon by the nuclear power plant, said the shell, it really wasn't a cocoon.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that's Godzilla in there. And I'm like, well, why? I don't know. That doesn't make much sense. Okay. So then out popped a fucking bug. A giant bug.
A Muto.
A Muto. And it was a cool design, and I'm glad it was a monster I never saw before.
Yeah. It was kind of praying mantis-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to show you my dorkness with Godzilla. Godzilla on Monster Island, or Son of Godzilla, had the praying mantises, and they were just straight up praying mantises. This thing was like a hybrid.
Yeah.
But anyway, and in this movie, the only gripe I have is they didn't show Godzilla much in this. I mean, but when they showed him, it was to good effect.
Sure.
But anyway, then you find out that with this Muto showing up, that woke Godzilla up because in his role in this movie, in this entire Monsterverse, he's the apex predator.
Right.
He's like, hey, man, you're standing on my dick. This is my territory. Stay in line. And I don't know why I made him sound like a greaser, but whatever. So anyway, Godzilla starts hunting the Muto, and he hunts him to Hawaii. And it just happens to be upon the flight path of Ford. Ford's like, yeah, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the giant bug showed up. Then Godzilla showed up. And then I'm going to go here, and then he wanted to get into the fight because, spoiler, Bryan Cranston died early in the movie, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't see that coming either. I thought he was going to be the hero throughout it. Oh, and it also had the dude.
Didn't he? Do you think he died, or he just went to sell meth?
He's like he hits his head and he becomes Walter White.
Yeah. I mean.
Another great character actor in this is Ken Wanabe, or I don't know his last name. It's Ken something. He was in a lot of.
Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe. He was in The Last Samurai, starring a white guy, and he was also in Batman Begins. He played fake Ra's al Ghul.
No, that's right.
And he was in Inception. If you watched all of Inception,
I think I watched Inception.
Did you or did you not?
I thought I did.
But anywho, we go back to this Godzilla, and you find out there's not just one Muto in the movie. There's two. And a male and a female.
That's right.
And the female...
They're calling out to each other so that they can mate.
Yes. And that obviously that would end the human race, because if you see in the movie, there's a shit ton of eggs. There's like a lot of fucking eggs in this. And, you know, Godzilla's like, not on my fucking watch. And he shows up, and the battle happens in San Francisco.
Well, right.
But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well, you are getting ahead of yourself, and you do have to give some credit to the soldiers, and actually Ford Brody.
Ford Brody.
Yeah, who is Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Okay. Was he in Kick-Ass? Was he the guy from Kick-Ass?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Is he?
I don't know.
No. That's the guy from Kick-Ass. Isn't he the same guy that plays Quicksilver?
He was other Quicksilver.
The other Quicksilver.
Yes. The one that couldn't, outrun bullets.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah. So I would say less fast Quicksilver. Yeah. So they get the idea, hey, these creatures love nuclear stuff, so let's nuke them. Let's not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what would happen, because I've not actually. Well, I did. You do see later.
It just
in the
never
series.
worked. It seemed like they were bringing out the nukes, and it just never frickin' worked.
No, it never worked. So Ken, what was his last name? Ken, the professor, the Japanese guy.
Oh, Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe's character.
Iro Serizawa.
Yeah, Dr. Serizawa, who
Yes.
was, I think he might have been named after the doctor from the original film. Comes to the conclusion, hey, let him fight. Godzilla's going to straighten it out. And guess what? It worked.
Yeah.
And, and this movie was much needed after that god-awful Godzilla movie from the 90s.
With Matthew Broderick.
With Matthew Broderick and Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like this. I try to ignore stuff I don't like. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Something about a Godzilla that dies from getting hit by 3 missiles just does not work with me.
They were, they were the Moabs.
Yep,
Mother
yep.
of all bomb missiles.
Sure. So, anyway, Godzilla collapses after the fight with the Mutos after he killed both of them and using his badass fire breath, his radioactive breath, which looked 10 times cooler in this movie.
Yeah. I did appreciate the fact that like they were trying to get the nuke and that it was on the boat and like he just kind of like he was knocked out and then he jumped back up and he just like opened up that Muto's mouth
And just shot down his throat.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
and
that
then
was
just
awesome.
tossed his
I'm done with you.
tossed his head down like with his little T-Rex arms.
Yeah. Yeah, then he collapsed.
Yeah.
So, and then at
Spoiler alert, he gets up at the end.
He gets up at the end, and everybody's like, yay, he wrecked the city. But he did it. He saved everybody. Woo. And he took off into the ocean like he always did back in the Japanese movies. And then the Monsterverse decided to throw everything on their head and then release Kong Skull Island, which this movie was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was set like right at the end of Vietnam.
Right.
But it also had a callback to World War II.
Right.
And it all involved Skull Island, which, if you don't follow the Kong mythos, it shows all the monsters. Like it's like where Kong's from, and it's basically an island that time forgot.
Right.
And there was a guy, and they tied it into Godzilla because John Goodman's character's working for Monarch, that same organization, and at this time they were going to get defunded because nobody believed in this shit.
That's right.
And he manages to get they find the island, which everybody had been talking about, and he wanted to get a military escort to do some like checks, and then he used the atypical U.S. reasoning. The Russians are going to find out about this, and everybody's like, okay, here you go, we'll give you some money to go check it out.
Here's some money.
Here's some money. Go do that.
Make sure the Russians don't get there first.
I don't even care. We don't even care if you go to Rio with this money. Just don't make sure the Russians don't find out about it. So. And it's starring Samuel L. Jackson. It's got a favorite of the show, Tom Hiddleston, a.k.a. Loki.
Yep. John C. Reilly. Brie Larson.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That chick. And they go to Skull Island. And Tom Hiddleston was like the tracker that they decided to bring on there for some reason, even though there's a bunch of military guys that were in the bush for, for Vietnam. So
yeah, but I mean, they weren't. Those were different kinds of trackers, man. This is.
Oh, they were cavalry, right? They were helicopter pilots and shit. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, the only gripe so they go there and they start blowing up. Like, okay, mind you, Kong does nothing wrong in this entire fucking movie. Okay, a bunch of assholes show up on my island and start blowing shit up. I'm gonna get pissed too.
Right.
So the military gets there. They're setting off these seismic charges because they have a theory. And this is a theory that actually plays into the rest of the series as well. It's called the Hollow Earth theory.
Right.
That there's pockets of hollow crust in the world, and these giant creatures live there, and they can move real fast in between spots on the map. So they wanted to prove it.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah. So I mean, it was all right. A little thin to me, but whatever. It's fiction, man. No such thing as a giant ape destroying buildings and a fire-breathing dinosaur.
Sure.
So anyway,
are you trying to say that we need to suspend our disbelief?
Suspend disbelief.
Okay. Right. Done and done.
Done and done. So they go there, and Kong doesn't take kindly to this because he's like he's what you call the apex on that island.
Right.
He might even be the apex of them all, but that gets settled later on in the shared universe. So he throws a fucking tree at one of the helicopters. Now, mind you, Joe, I'm going to ask you a hypothetical here, okay? Say you're flying along in a helicopter, right?
Sure.
And you see a giant primate, just enormous, throw a tree and it hits one of the other helicopters. What are you going to do?
I'm probably going to, leave.
I'm gonna leave, or I'm gonna fly higher. Because helicopters can go up pretty high. All the helicopters decide to keep cruising at the same altitude, and Kong pretty much wipes them fucking out.
Yeah.
Cool scene, but I'm pretty sure most people would probably fly higher, or like turn around.
Are you trying to say that this is unrealistic?
I'm suspending disbelief.
Okay, because I thought that's what we were doing.
That's what we are.
All
Okay.
right.
I'm going to point out the good and the bad, man.
Okay, Trev. Trev.
Is the heat getting to you?
It's the humidity.
Yeah. It's a wet heat.
Yeah.
So they go there and they decide. Well, now the story is all about these soldiers needing to get the fuck off this island that time forgot.
Right. And that's when they run into John C. Reilly, and he's all like, "You're gonna die."
He was
It's
great.
like everything here is trying to kill you.
Yes, and they run into some really cool creature effects. There's these daddy long leg spiders that, I mean, there's brutal deaths in some of these.
Yeah.
And you find out that Kong actually has a struggle going on this island against these things called skull crawlers,
Yes.
which are like lizards with no legs.
Right.
You got like a tail, and there's like a big one that he fights, and you get treated to a giant monster fight, which I will never complain about.
No.
And Samuel L. Jackson's character's got a real hard on against Kong at this moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, he just destroyed like his whole
battalion,
his whole fleet of helicopters. So
Yeah, so
can't really blame him.
well, you can't blame Kong for fucking throwing it's like somebody wiping their shoes all over your nice white couch.
Or like leaving your swimming trunks in the sink.
I didn't ruin anything.
Oh, okay.
It was in the sink.
Kind of ruined my night, dude.
Did I?
No, but I took a picture of it.
Yeah, it was funny. We might even post it up on the webpage.
It was hilarious.
Anywho, we
I don't know
are.
why you fucking put them in my sink?
We find out because they're wet.
You took them off in the bathroom.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah. And you know what's in the bathroom?
A sink.
A bathtub.
A bathtub.
Yeah, a bathtub.
I'm scared to go by that bathtub because apparently it breaks on a regular.
No.
So they tried to get off the island. And by the way, we failed to mention that John C. Reilly was a pilot from World War II that got stranded on that island.
And then just like learned to survive.
He learned to survive, and there's a native tribe there that built a 200-mile high wall. And
then Kong protected them.
And Kong protected them.
And that's when they figured out. That's when they figured out that Kong wasn't the bad guy.
No, it was those things he called skull crawlers, and it was actually one of the funniest parts of the movie is like, because I call them skull crawlers, and everybody kind of just looked at John C. Reilly where he's like, you know what, I never said that out loud, and I feel kind of stupid, and I wish I took it back. Great movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and it foreshadowed other giants. They said like they showed an image of Mothra, they showed an image of Rodan,
right.
and if you don't know them, look them up. I mean, they're Toho classic monsters, and they showed up in old Godzilla stuff and had their own movies.
Ghidorah.
Oh, King Ghidorah, Monster Zero.
Yeah,
that's segueing right into Godzilla King of the Monsters now.
Here we go.
Here we go. This is divisive. I know a lot of people that don't like this movie, but I thought it was really choice.
Yeah.
Monarch obviously has their budget fucking quadrupled ever since Godzilla wrecked San Francisco fighting the Mutos.
That's right.
And we pick it up a couple of years after that happened. And, who are the bad guys in Game of Thrones?
Are you talking about the White Walkers?
No, not the White Walkers, the Dick family with the brother and sister, like the bang.
Lannisters.
The Lannisters. So, Tyrell Lannister, the Dick, runs this organization that feels that mankind's gotten too big for his britches, and he wants to weaponize all the Titans, as they call them.
Well, let me say that, I think that, he's probably got a pretty good idea on this whole thing.
He does, because the movie opens up with a doctor and Millie Bobby Brown, who's the daughter of said doctor.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just talking about his idea about, mankind got too big and these monsters should wipe it out. I mean, take a look around, man. There's like 330 million people in this country that just can't fucking get along.
Oh, I know, dude. Just take care of the West Coast. I mean,
I don't know, man.
So it opens up, and you immediately are greeted with the sight of the larva form of Mothra, which Mothra is a great character.
It just kept eating all the like rose bushes.
It kept, you find out that they've actually discovered a way to kind of communicate with the giant monsters,
Right.
with the Titans.
Yeah, they had a box.
Yeah, I call it the plot device.
Yeah. Okay.
So they developed this plot device and
Box. Plot device box.
and then guess what happens to that super secret base?
They got destroyed?
It got destroyed and attacked by those terrorists led by the dickhead Lannister guy.
Yeah, that's right.
And they steal the box, and they kidnap the doctor and her daughter. And you're kind of wondering, like, wow, they were really ginger with them when they just killed everybody else. So then it cuts to Monarch monitoring everything, and you find out that the doctor's estranged from her husband because of Godzilla's battle that happened years before in San Francisco caused the death of their youngest child.
Right.
It's good tragic background.
Sure.
Really good. And so during all these shenanigans happening, the terrorist organization goes to the Arctic.
Right.
And because they found out a total badass monster according to Monarch's databases that not a lot of people knew about, called Monster Zero, and it's King Ghidorah, which King Ghidorah has like always been considered Godzilla's archenemy. It's a 3-headed dragon. It looks badass. It shoots lightning out of his out of his mouth like it's breath, and it flies. And like in this movie, it actually causes like storms to happen and shit just by being there.
Right.
I thought that was a cool add-on. So guess what happens? They bust it loose thinking that, hey, it's going to wreck everything, and it's considered another one of these apex predators.
Right.
Well, they keep up the Godzilla train going on this. Obviously, he's an apex predator. He heard this thing yelling in the background, its call. So he showed up. He's like, hey, knock it off. You're bugging the world.
Yeah.
He fights. It's a stalemate. Ghidorah runs away after Godzilla falls God knows where.
Well, I mean, also you have to remember about the giant jet and the giant jet fleet that was going around and everything else.
Oh yeah,
too.
Monarch's jet fleet.
Yeah. So
so they got the Blackbird from X-Men.
Well, I mean, it was pretty fucking big.
Yeah, it was like I don't know if it's actually feasible with physics, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
it was like the Shield helicarrier, but only stealth bomber version.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it was there was a whole bunch of stuff, and then like that Storm's running around, and well, I'm sorry, Ghidorah.
Ghidorah.
Yes. So he's running around, he's doing all that, and he's waking up all these other ones. Mothra's there.
It didn't really make what Mothra. At that time, she went into a cocoon.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Rodan got woke up by those fucking terrorists.
Right.
And, like, that was one of the coolest parts of the fucking movie was when Rodan woke up. Because he just showed how much fucking damage it did just by flying.
Right. That was the fire one. Right?
It was a Pteranodon. That was like all fire.
He was in that Mexican mountain.
Yes. Olay. And, like, Ghidorah came there and, like, he was going to... Rodan fought it and got his ass kicked. And then, apparently, when it comes to, like, rules of being a giant monster... If you lose, you serve whoever beat your ass.
It's kind of an unspoken rule.
It is, yeah. It's a true story. You're not going to be like, I'm going to fight you again and get beat up all over again or die.
Right. It's the old, if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
Yep.
So, but during this time, it had one of the coolest, like, jump things. It startled me, but it didn't scare me, is after Rodan got knocked the fuck out, Ghidorah is going to take out, a giant stealth bomber ship.
Well, I mean, because that's why I mentioned it, because, there had to be a little bit of mention of that giant ship. Because, I mean, at that point, I believe that they were chasing it, and then he got sick of being chased.
Yes.
So then he was like, all
fuck
right,
you.
I'm done with this gigantic jet that shouldn't be flying because it's just too freaking big.
Right. So Ghidorah's going to destroy him after they're trying to evacuate their people that got fucked up during this battle. And Godzilla jumps out of the water, which I thought was one of the coolest fucking scenes.
Right.
And rips off its middle fucking head. Now, mind you, it's a 3-headed dragon. Rips off its middle head. And it is fight. And, the U.S. government, instead of just learning from, like, what happened 3 years before, they're like, oh yeah, we got this weapon. We're gonna shoot it at both of them. And I'm like, yeah, because that always works too.
Right.
So they shoot it at him, almost kills Godzilla, has no effect on Ghidorah.
Right.
And Ghidorah's head grows back.
Right, because they probably gave it a bunch of radiation, and
yeah. So
that's how those things work.
and it's always, you know what I noticed? It's the same fucking general each time. In each of these, making the bad decisions in every one of these movies.
Okay, it's not the same guy. It's basically the same character. The guy that's like, just blow everything up.
Yeah.
Let's just blow everything up.
And during all the shenanigans, you find out that the doctor, the female doctor, the estranged doctor, is actually working with the terrorists because reasons. She never gave a good fucking reason.
Well, I mean, she just believed. She believed in the Lannister way.
And Millie Bobby Brown's like, you're a monster.
Right.
Oh my god. And then she didn't use her cool, psychokinesis from Stranger Things on her. She ended up stealing the monster talker box, aka plot device.
Yes, plot device box.
Yes, and took off running. And for some reason, she wanted to draw the monsters to Boston. And at this time, Ghidorah woke everything up, like everybody.
Well, right, but I mean, he just really she hated the Boston Bruins just as much as I did, so that's why she wanted to do it. She was just
And
like
the Celtics.
yeah, she was like, fuck TD Garden,
And at this time, Monarch finds out where Godzilla is, and he's really hurt. So they decided to go jumpstart him with a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, good idea.
This is the only time I've seen the nuclear bombs work in the capacity that they wanted to use them in. So they supercharged Godzilla. He pops up out of the water in what is used as the cover for the fucking movie, where he's shooting his breath into the sky. And Mothra wakes up at the same time and is now a moth instead of being a big caterpillar. And, they threw this little juxtaposition in there and is like, oh, Mothra and Godzilla are symbiotic species. They benefit each other.
Sure.
So I've never known a moth benefiting a fucking dinosaur or a lizard or vice versa. But hey, you know what? Disbelief. So anyway.
They're friends.
So they're friends. Except for, when they fought each other back in the day.
Right.
So all the monsters...
that goes along with they can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
So
they go there. Ghidorah gets drawn to that box because Millie Bobby Brown was using the box to calm all the monsters down from wrecking everything. Oh
yeah, that's right. It was like a monster feeling box.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's hooked on a feeling.
There you go.
And so Ghidorah's like, no, this isn't gonna. I'm the boss now. So it goes to Boston to get it, and then Godzilla shows up and it has a badass fight. And then other monsters join in, like Rodan on the side of Ghidorah and Mothra on the other side. And I was sad to see Mothra die, but Mothra went out like a champ.
Well, yeah, I mean, right before Mothra, bit the big one, she kind of
gave him his power,
enhanced, gave
extends.
gave it, its spores or whatever, it's moth dust,
Moth dust.
Because when a moth lands on you, you get all dusty. And it's
yeah. Well, I'm gonna see if I can run through a wall if I fucking have a moth land on me next time.
All right,
we're gonna videotape, put it on the website.
I want to do that.
Yes. So everything happens with help from the U.S. Armies, Air Force, Mothra. And everything. Godzilla defeats Ghidorah, and it's actually pretty cool how he defeats Ghidorah. He eats him alive.
I mean, that's the only way. You got to take him down,
right? And all the other monsters show up, and they all acknowledge, like, "Yo, we get it." And then they do this montage at the end. Muda, all the giant titans are going back, and everything's going back to normal. And they announce that they found another Mothra egg in China and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's so happy.
It's a circle of life.
Yeah,
Joe. So overall, great movie.
Yeah, it was very good.
If you like giant monster movies, you should check it out.
I do enjoy giant monster movies.
Yes, and now we're gonna go with the most recent one.
Yeah,
it has the two most recognizable giant monsters in cinema. Got Kong and Godzilla duking it out, and
yeah, this one came out I think it was a couple days before or after Easter.
Yeah,
and then I spent most of Easter Sunday watching watching all of these movies again.
Yeah.
And at one point, my wife tells me, she's like, this is not an Easter movie. And that's when I thought to myself, these are definitely Easter movies.
Yes, they are Easter movies. There's a lot of eggs.
Yeah. There's eggs. There's
Rebirth.
Rebirth. It's just, I believe that these movies should be considered Easter movies.
I agree.
Feel good, cinematic Easter movies.
We're talking about selfless giant monsters putting themselves on the line to protect you.
Yeah, I mean, it's got everything.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
The whole family, very enjoying.
Back up in your ass with the resurrection.
I always think of Office Space whenever I hear that song.
It's a Ghetto Boys song.
Yeah, it is. But Godzilla vs. Kong, the fights in this movie were really good. Sure. I liked it. It showcased both of them and what they're all about. Now, obviously, Godzilla's a powerhouse. Kong doesn't stand a chance if they're just going to fucking start punching each other.
Right.
So, let's start from the beginning.
Well, I mean, this one's very recent. I don't think we have to do too much. I mean, as far as, going through it.
Oh, no, we're gonna give you the bare bones on this.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
There's a company that salvaged Ghidorah's, one of the head that Godzilla ripped off.
Yep.
And was using it to mind link and build a mechanical Godzilla. So Mecha Godzilla's in this movie, and he's one of my favorite bad guys.
Which is probably the best way to control all of this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Instead of just having a pilot inside.
I think that it was. I thought it was very, very well done.
Yes.
Yeah. The idea behind the Mecha Godzilla to combat all these, predators and stuff like that. I thought it was great.
Right. And the thing with it is obviously they need to find a power source with this, and they had the whole Hollow Earth theory, and you find out that Monarch had built a large containment thing on Skull Island because the storm got bigger and it encompassed the entire island.
Yeah,
now.
so they had to keep Kong safe so that he wouldn't attract Godzilla.
Right, because they realized that he's another alpha.
Right.
And then they find out a way. They're like, hey, we need Kong to find us so we can get this power source. And now they're not telling anybody. This company's not telling anybody why they need this fucking power source. Now, this is the same company at the very beginning of the movie got attacked by Godzilla for no fucking reason. And Godzilla has not been a bad guy at all in all these movies.
Yeah.
He shows up in Florida, and he just wrecks this one fucking building and leaves.
Right. Well, that was the building that they had, the power source and,
part of it.
Yeah, part of the power source that was doing that.
Yes.
And it was, harnessing, Ghidorah.
Yeah, Ghidorah's head.
Yeah, so that was fine, but they kind of make Kong the bad guy at that point.
Godzilla?
Yeah, sorry. Godzilla.
Yep. So they make Godzilla the bad guy and
excuse me, sorry.
Right. So they want then they Kong can show us how to get to the Hollow Earth.
Yeah. This part
I agree. This is kind of where it lost me a little bit.
This part I found stupid because it was if they kind of knew the direction, why do they need Kong to show them where it was?
Right, and I just think the whole fact that the Earth is hollow in the middle and there's jungle down there. I didn't like it when they called it an ocean in Aquaman either.
Right.
But they do that.
Yeah.
Kong shows them the way.
I thought it was stupid.
I did too.
Right.
And
they needed him to get through that barrier.
Right, but mind you, before they got to the Arctic to where they could go down there.
Right.
Godzilla found out where he was. He's like, "Hey, you're out of your fucking zone, bro." He showed up.
That was actually a pretty badass fight.
It was a great fight. He was jumping from aircraft carrier to aircraft carrier, fighting him, and I loved the opening thing when Kong just fucking socked him in the face.
Right.
And I was like, "Good for you," but the Godzilla falls in the water. He's like, "Oh, fuck me, no, fuck you." And he shot his fucking beam right up through the ship.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean that was a pretty good fight, and at that point they pulled him up into the air, right?
Yeah, they airlifted him.
They airlifted him off, and then
they knew they couldn't get him by water anymore because Godzilla kicked his ass. They said he's gonna die. We need to do something.
Right. There's just something about a gigantic primate drowning. Since realistically, I don't think apes can swim.
PETA was livid.
Oh, okay.
PETA was livid.
Oh,
I don't
see,
think
I don't pay attention to that shit.
No, I don't either.
They were mad about something that wasn't real.
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, they lift him to the Arctic. He leads him to the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Down there, he sees a giant throne. Okay, this is the part where I get lost a little bit too.
Yeah, this part kind of.
He's down there. He finds a giant fucking axe.
Right.
So they made axes down there, and there's thrones and shit like that.
Well, you have to remember in Skull Island, they did the thing where he was the last of his race. There used to be a bunch of them.
Right. So it was an extension. So they actually went up to the surface,
right,
to get away from what was killing them down there.
Right.
So anyway, at that time, Godzilla shows up in Hong Kong, going after more of the shenanigans that these assholes are trying to do, and you find out they're trying to make Mechagodzilla to replace him.
Right.
Mind you, Godzilla has not done anything all that bad. He hasn't attacked people for no fucking reason.
Just them.
Just them. So he goes there, and at that time, I forgot about the hover cars that they were using to fly through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what I was saying. Like,
yeah.
why did they need, if they had King Kong, why didn't they just keep flying the hover cars down the thing? They didn't need that.
Right. So they get like a portion of the stuff that's in the Hollow Earth that could power Godzilla, and they transmit it to power up Mechagodzilla, yeah. And at the time you find out that the company's actually the bad guys. I mean, there's this whole subplot with Millie Bobby Brown and some weird janitor that's like does podcasts about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
About everything going on. They're like, oh, Godzilla's a good guy. I'm like, yeah, we all know this. So right. Anyway, and at that moment, Kong gets the axe. Godzilla stops what he's doing. He just blows a hole right through to the center of the earth with his breath. Then you got a new fight. Of
course.
Yeah. Then you got a new fight. It's round 2. Kong's got an axe.
Right.
And they fight, and you find out that axe absorbs Godzilla's breath.
Right. So, I mean, it made perfect sense why they made it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because even though they're giant monkeys, they know all about engineering and shit like that.
For sure.
Got it. So, round 2, I'll give it to Kong because he used the axe and knocked them both down.
Right.
They both get back up, and round 3 happens, like, immediately, right? And I liked round 3 because it had Kong dupe Godzilla. Like, he threw a rock, and Godzilla, like, turned around to look at it, and Kong jumped on his back and started smashing him in the face. And I'm like, that's good. He knows hit and run. But then he got hit by the breath. And then, what was it? How did it end, Joe? How did that fight end?
I believe that was like with the deflection from the axe, right?
No, it was round 2 ended with the deflection from the axe. Round 3 ended with Godzilla standing on Kong's fucking chest, yelling in his face.
Right.
I fucking showed you.
He's like, you like that?
Yeah, he showed him. He's like, you go back to your fucking island, or you go somewhere else. This is not your zone.
Right.
So Kong's knocked the fuck out. He almost beat him to death, but Godzilla kind of just let him go at that point. He didn't like murder him.
It was weird. It was like they kind of like, they needed each other.
And at that moment, the power source got installed in the Mechagodzilla, and he showed up, and he started whipping Godzilla's ass, right. Which I think we all saw this coming. Mechagodzilla shows up. He starts fucking Godzilla up. They realize they got to jumpstart Kong's heart before he dies, and they use like one of those hover ships, to fucking give him like one of those heart paddle fucking things.
It's called a automatic defibrillator.
A defibrillator. That's
you would know that if you were CPR certified.
If I was, yes, you're absolutely
right.
Which
I am.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, just in case.
Joe Coogan, CPR certified.
There you go.
So they jumpstart Kong. He grabs the axe. Guess what? We got Godzilla and King Kong versus Mechagodzilla.
Right.
And,
outstanding.
And they use teamwork and the power of friendship to defeat Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
And
and
the movie ended with Kong going to the middle of the earth to Hollow World, and Godzilla showing everybody up top, but he's still the fucking man.
That's right.
Good movie, not the best in the series. I think the best in the series was Godzilla King of Monsters, followed by Skull Island, and then Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong are tied
Yeah,
for
so
3.
they were all out of order for you, huh?
Like, just for what I enjoyed more, you
Right.
know. But all of them I liked. I
Yeah.
can't say there hasn't been a bad entry.
Like I said, on Easter, I celebrate the whole collection.
So was that your only gripe about Godzilla vs. Kong? I mean, like, I would like to see more of the other monsters. I mean, you led with your 2, iconic ones, and you brought in some other stuff like Rodan and Mothra. But I mean, would you have liked to see like new additions or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I can't remember what its name was, but that there one of the old ones there was that like turtle that was like
Gamera?
Yeah, that was doing gymnastics. And
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Gamera, and they had that one. I mean, like a dog.
Yeah, I mean there's tons of them.
Yeah, and there's still stuff going on in Japan right now. Like they're still doing Godzilla movies that are actually pretty damn good, like Shin Godzilla. Check that out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean I've seen a few here and there. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
Comet's good for showing those. So,
but no, we have to say Monsterverse is really good.
I like it. I think they should keep going with it.
Absolutely. So. I mean, they don't crank them out with the regularity of like Marvel and DC, but I mean, like, it's kind of hard to craft a giant monster movie as opposed to you got a bunch of comic books that give you your fucking storyboards right there.
Yeah,
these actually require like writing from the ground up.
Well, they said this month it was stated by Max Borenstein that there will be new interesting installments coming.
Outstanding.
Due to the success of Godzilla versus Kong, and they were trying to say that it'll be with less human influence and to really characterize the creatures.
Right.
So I
as
think,
it should be.
I think a bunch of good stuff's coming.
I don't go to see a Godzilla movie about fucking romance. I go there to fucking see giant monsters.
Yeah, I mean it's all about Easter.
It's all about Easter. Dying eggs.
Yeah.
Watching radioactive dinosaurs fight fucking 3-headed dragons.
I'm telling you. Next Easter, just watch them all, man.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna live stream the Monsterverse. But anyway, guys, hey, we want to thank you for joining us with this outside edition of the Broken Battery Pop Culture Podcast.
Yeah, we probably won't do this again.
We probably won't do because Bunko comes once a year.
So.
Anyway, want to thank you again. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on social media. Watch us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook.
Pound that thumbs up sign.
Become a member of the Battery Pack.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you.
Like I said, eventually maybe we might start getting paid for this shit.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, you guys have a good one.
Yep. Stay off the pipe. Don't forget to wipe.